The Three Rivers Mall was always the living room, if you will, of Cowlitz County.
You are eager to see stores, so are we, but we got to get the lights back on first.
The entire thing was a Hollister.
Because when you used to drive in, it was like...
How would we let you get off the podcast without asking some business advice from you guys, you know?
And I was speaking with the owner in Florida, and he said to me, the first person down here with the earnest money.
Welcome to Connections in Cowlitz, the podcast where we introduce you to the faces behind local places. I'm Katie Keaton, your Southwest Washington Realtor.
And I'm Gabbi Graves, your hometown lender.
And today we are meeting the men behind them all. But before we do that, we have a new segment for you called We've Got a Guy.
If you're looking for a landscaper this spring, B&B Landscaping is your guy. Residential, commercial, and Connections in Cowlitz approved. Call B&B Landscaping for all of your landscaping and hardscaping needs. Look them up on Google.
Okay, so now we are getting into it. We have Eric Pucci with us, Bob Davis with us, Pucci Davis Properties. Hello, guys.
Hello.
Good morning.
So I tried to write an intro for you guys, but you do so much that it's really hard to encapsulate. So I would love to hear your elevator pitches. Eric, you go first.
Wow, elevator pitch.
Yes, what do you do?
I own Remax in Longview and Centralia, Chehalis. I have New Rock Homes. We build stick-built homes, and then we also do some commercial properties. And then I'm a partner in the Housing Mart, which is a manufactured home company in Chehalis, and then also Longview. And then we have some commercial properties that we started acquiring about 10 years ago. And more than that now, huh?
About 15.
Yeah, 15 years. Well, time flies, right?
You guys see why it was hard to write an intro for them.
Yeah, all of that is just Mr. Pucci.
Yes.
Then there's Mr. Davis, who...
Well, recently I was trying to retire, but Eric wouldn't hear it. So essentially, I'm real estate development and commercial property management is really what I do most all days.
You know, when I was trying to write the intro, what I said is you might live in a home they've built. You've definitely eaten in a restaurant that they own, and now you can shop in their shopping center. Is that about right?
That's probably a good summation.
Okay. Well, last time we talked, you said something interesting, Eric, and I wanted to get into that because we want to introduce you guys to the people behind the mall. The mall is very personal to people, and you had mentioned that for you, people say, oh, it's not personal, it's business, and you said to you, all business is personal. Could you tell us a little bit about that and why you decided to take on this personal project?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Why? I'm speechless.
Wow.
Because
Well, maybe I can help you out a little bit. One thing that we've talked about before is that Pucci Davis Properties has a kind of a mission of taking old buildings and that are classic to our area and beautifying them so the community can use them again. So was that kind of one of the things that got you guys excited about buying a whole mall?
Yeah, we've redone a lot of properties here locally. We have built some ground up, products also, but our primary focus has always been, as you said, taking old properties or maybe deferred maintenance, they'll call it in the real estate development world, and actually we call lease them up or essentially redo them and then and put good local tenants in there. So that was kind of a segue probably to doing the Three Rivers Mall, which is now we've rebranded to Three Rivers Crossing. It was a 40-year-old asset here that was right on Interstate 5 that had a lot of great bones and a lot of community excitement about it. So we thought, why not?
Yeah, and we will get into the name change soon, definitely as well. You mentioned that it is personal to a lot of people, and Gabbi and I have been brought on by you guys to help with some of the marketing, if you guys have seen out there. And one of the first things we found when we were in the old offices is a big photo album filled with all of these photos of the mall, the opening. You mentioned that it's almost 40 years old. We found a bunch of things from the grand opening, which was in 1987. So, do you guys have any personal memories of the Three Rivers Crossing? Things that really made you be like, yeah, we want to bring this back to life.
Well, I'm probably a little older than everybody sitting at this table here. So when I was in high school, it was actually a golf course.
Okay.
And so my memories predate the structure there. But I will concur with you, though. There's some really neat photo albums there in the office that when they did the initial construction, they really did a great job in memorializing the entire process, which is very exciting to us to have an asset like that has so much history behind it. It's pretty neat.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Eric? Any stores that you love to go shopping in?
I actually, just like you see on Facebook, I know the comments, I miss the Bon Marché.
Yes. The Emporium.
Yeah, but was it Meyer and Frank originally?
Yes,
yeah,
it was.
So I do miss that's about when I moved here. So I moved here from New York, and the mall already existed. But those are my biggest memories.
What about you, Katie? What's like your favorite nostalgic mall memory?
Okay, so you mentioned the Emporium, and my family, like my mom is frugal. I'm not going to say cheap, but I will say frugal, and she would agree with that. And so for school clothes shopping, I would get to, buy like one expensive item, which at the time were these ugly sweatshirts from the Emporium. They were Roxy brand. Do you remember Roxy?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, they were like surfing brand at the time. Yes.
Yes, and they sold them at the Emporium, and they were $40, which at the time
was expensive for a sweatshirt.
$40. So one time a year, my mom would let me go to the Emporium and buy a Roxy sweatshirt. I also loved KB Toys.
Ooh. Okay. I loved the cookie place. That place was amazing. The lemon cookies and the s'more cookies are like to die for. I almost can still taste them. And then the Emporium, that's my other core memory. My mom let me buy my first pair of high heel shoes there.
Oh my gosh.
Which I probably walked around like a deer, duck, something. It was horrible. I don't know why she let me do it, but she did. Thanks, Mom. Connections with Cowlitz is sponsored by locally owned and operated ServPro of Longview, Kelso, the #1 residential and commercial cleanup company in the U.S. They help with fire damage, smoke damage, mold remediation, and so much more. Remember, you as a homeowner get final say as to who is inside your home. Locally owned, locally operated, ServPro of Longview, Kelso.
Connections and Cowlitz is also brought to you by JoJo and Coco Boutique, a women-owned business where they focus on the relationship and not the sale. The styles are quality, timeless pieces that work for women of literally any age. So stop in for you or someone you love, and you will leave with some stylish pieces that will leave you feeling great about yourself. JoJo and Coco is on the corner of Commerce and Hudson. And I think a lot of people have memories at this particular location. It is crazy. When we post the old photos, people are tagging themselves, just such a fun time. And, we're too young to remember the 80s, but I'm sure it brings a lot of great memories for you guys.
I do love when people see their aunt or their grandma and they tag them in the photos. That's been really fun on Facebook.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you mentioned that you remember it as a golf course. So I would like to dispel some rumors. No, it is not being turned back into a golf course.
That'd be correct.
No, it is not being turned into a roller skating rink.
That is also correct.
Mm-hmm. You are not building a second story or a third story.
No, that's not happening either.
So you're not going to level it and turn it into a Dick Hanna auto mall?
No.
Nope.
Or a golf course. I've seen that one a couple times too.
Those are the big rumors.
Yeah.
Well, to kind of it's kind of dovetailing into that is we're very, very cognizant of the fact retail is changing. A lot of people shop on Amazon. We all do. But the fact of the matter is there's still the need to be able to come in person, to fill items, to be able to buy them. And so the landscape of retail has definitely changed. It's more personal services. So we've really elected to lean into some really stronger local brands here, from restaurants to personal service businesses, from barbershops to hair salons, things of that nature. There's also going to be some aspect of offices there. The local car dealership group that most people know, the Clariata Group, will have their corporate offices there, I believe, starting June or July of this year. So it's incumbent upon us to be able to provide services to 50 to 100 folks are going to be there every day to work.
Yeah. Well, I know when you originally talked to us about this project, you said that you wanted people to think of it as a lifestyle center. What is the tagline you like that you're moving towards?
Well,
Shop, Dine, Experience.
Yeah, actually, that was really the tagline we've established at the Three Rivers Crossing as a shop, dine, and experience. And really, the Three Rivers Mall was always the living room, if you will, of Cowlitz County, where all major events happened. And we're very fortunate to have a manager at the mall now that has a extensive history in promotions and radio, and so she's all excited about doing events, and so everything from bringing the home show to they used to have the bridal fairs there. We recently did a Pinewood Derby
Car show coming up.
big car show cruising at the crossing on August 9th. All these events that are community driven events it's very important that we as a community support that, and we drive all the traffic back to the Three Rivers Crossing.
Well, and I love that you called it a living room, because living rooms should be comfortable and inviting and not outside. So that's one thing I like about bringing people back into the mall. And we were talking to producer Wayne, and producer Wayne already uses it really as a third space, because he goes to the Blue Cat, he said, a couple times a week to hang out with his friends, play some games. So there are definitely lifestyle aspects that are going on down there even now.
Absolutely. Well, and touching back on the nostalgia, I spent many Christmases having dance recitals at the mall or choir concerts. And that's something that Julie, your amazing mall manager, is trying to bring back so that it can be a community focal point. And that to me is really exciting. The shopping landscape has changed. Everything's online now, including the way that we, communicate with each other and spend time with each other. It'd be nice to have a physical location again that our community can come together and, just rally together. Mm-hmm.
There's really been a revitalization, especially since COVID, of people wanting to get together, have FaceTime. There's some really quality restaurants that are going to be opening up in what we've rebranded the food court to called the Eatery, which essentially will be a collective of 5 or 6 local brands that will not just be like, oh gosh, I'm hungry, let's go get a hot dog. You may actually come there for those particular eateries and then maybe shop and go to the theater, or you need to buy something at Sportsman's, or there's something you need to obtain at JCPenney's. And there's just a lot of really unique local stores there that we're really excited about. So.
Okay. And speaking of DNF, they are the rolled ice cream location that is in the Eatery right now, but they just expanded their menu, and it is some place that people are going to go specifically to eat there. It already is.
Yeah.
It's so good, and I'm not even going to pronounce what I had the other day, but oh my gosh, delicious, and things that, you're just not seeing at every restaurant in town. So.
Absolutely. They do a great job there. If you haven't had the opportunity to try their ice cream, boy, I'll tell you, you're really missing out on something. It's quite good.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, and, we mentioned that this is a large project that you brought on, and you can't just open the doors, have businesses rushing in. You had some serious work to get done that you're still working on. I think we're about at month 5 of your ownership about that.
How many days, Bob? Bob counts the days.
Precisely 168 days now.
Precisely.
And, this asset was kind of left to flounder for probably, arguably 10 to 15 years, maybe even a bit longer than that. So it's going to take a little bit longer than that to stand things back up and change the tides, a different philosophy. Mm-hmm. But we're definitely committed. People know that the way we do business, as Eric talked earlier, business is personal. And so personally, we're going to see this thing through. We're very tenacious. And we'll make this thing happen. Yeah.
Well, what were your priorities? Because, a lot of work has already gone in. And just from your business mind, you've talked to us about your different buckets. Like, how did you prioritize the jobs that you wanted to get done?
I think first we're blessed with having a dry winter. So we're able to paint the exterior immediately, which we really didn't intend on doing that till probably starting now or even later.
Yeah, summertime.
We're able to get a head start on that. We got the landscaping done. We cut down a bunch of the old trees in front of JCPenney's.
It looks really nice.
Replanted that. Is it 500 yards of bark dust-ish?
I think it's like 548 yards of bark dust, so it seemed like it was never going to end.
Absolutely. I know. They kept running them in. We're watching the dollar signs as we were going through. Mm-hmm. Electrical, switching everything over to LED, putting automation on the HVAC.
And let's touch on that real quick. If you were to estimate how many of the interior lights in the mall worked when you took possession, what would you say? 50%? 30?
That 50 would be fair to say.
50% of the lights did not work in the mall. And so, people, you are eager to see stores, so are we. But we got to get the lights back on first. Yeah. So let's all...
The entire thing was a Hollister.
I think what Bob actually got the urinal fixed.
So the urinal wasn't working either.
That was a game changer for the mall people.
Yeah, fixing the urinal, you would have thought we saved,
Earth.
The planet.
Yes.
Yeah, day one we walked in there, the urinals had a black plastic bag over them for months on end. The wash machine didn't work for the housekeeping people, and so they were hanging their stuff in their back room and hand washing. So that was first order of business. We ordered our head of housekeeping a washer and dryer, and we fixed the urinals, and we thought we solved world's hunger or some crazy thing like that just over.
Yes.
Seriously,
so
tears of excitement.
Or even just paving the entry. And I was one of those people that was like, oh, wow, we're fancy now. Look at us. We don't have potholes driving into Target.
I do not notice things like that. And so when we came on for some of the marketing, Gabby's like, we have to highlight the pavement. The pavement is the biggest thing that's ever happened. I'm like, okay, girl.
Because people acted like that you guys were saving humans by repaving the entryway, and it was just so funny that our community was so jazzed up about new pavement. I wanted to make a joke about it.
Remember we were in the mall and that couple came up to us and said, hey, are you the new owners? And we kind of like stand there going, what do we say right now? Yeah, they're gonna punch us or what? And they go, thank you so much for paving.
It was such a noticeable difference, because when you used to drive in, it was like, it was bad. It was bad. Yeah.
It was silly, but yeah, just the little difference makes. So we're still today. There's work happening of workers there doing tile floor, putting wood encasement on the planter boxes. There's just a lot of activity happening every day.
The signs.
The signs. Electricians seem to be there. I think they're on our payroll. I'm not really sure, but
well, out of 160 something days, they've been there every day. So
it seems they have their equipment like permanently parked in one of the suites there.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of behind the scenes infrastructure that people probably wouldn't see, but things that are necessary to make the facility function correctly. And I know, shockingly enough, but in 40 years, or nearly 40 years, technology's changed a bit. So we had to put in cameras. There's, HVAC automation that was not functioning correctly. The LED lighting, all the exterior lighting in the parking lot. If you drive by there at night now, it actually is all lit up. We did an LED upgrade. You didn't realize how many lights are. I think there's how many fixtures? It's crazy, like 167 fixtures or something. Because
each pole has 3.
Yeah, it's a 50-acre site, so it's a big thing. So everything's just exponential and cost-wise.
Oh yeah, you made the comment the other day that when you're dealing with a normal business,
or a house, every fix is $10,000.
Or every fix is $1,000, and now you said at the mall, every mistake's $10,000.
Yeah, I told my partner in the restaurant group, he's like, gosh, everything's $1,000. I go, just plan on everything you touch is $1,000. This place, everything you touch starts at $10,000.
See, you've already lost all your hair, but is it making you turn gray, Eric?
Possibly a little bit. Can you see that?
Oh, now that you mention it.
Yeah.
It's okay. I've got some too. It's that real estate world.
Oh,
sure.
Gosh, yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, and so a lot of work has been going on into the infrastructure, but every time we walk in, it seems like there is a new storefront where the barricades have come off, we can see inside, and things are happening.
Stores I forgot that even existed. Like, you guys take down these temporary walls, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, Foot Locker was there. I completely forgot.
Yeah.
Well, it's been really gratifying and exciting as well. There's a number of stores that people didn't know that have been there 5+ years, and just you start making improvements. It's the old adage, like you buy the home in the neighborhood, and maybe you start doing your lawn nicely and you paint your home. Well, other people want to do the same, and so we really witnessed that. I can just go on the list of all the different stores that are doing that. That's exciting to see that people taking pride in their stores and making improvements. That's exciting.
We've definitely seen it. There's a buzz around the mall. The tenants are excited, and they're excited to try new things, try new products, redecorate their stores, upgrade their signs. They're excited, and there's a really big optimism when you walk through the mall right now. It's quite exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in order to get new tenants into our community too, new stores, we had to do this up front.
Right.
Because there was no way we were going to talk, nationals into coming. And
When half your lights don't turn on.
exactly.
I mean.
So, we are talking with some nationals as well to infill in between the stores that we have.
Okay, I already know the answer to this, but can you give us hints on who they are?
Um,
No, that was my guess. Is you were going to say
well,
no.
we can say there's some exterior ones. We can say one of them, and it's a coffee shop that's already in our community.
Fun.
Well, we have some of the inside track, and we'll just tell you that you can be excited. And I think it is fun, too, that you guys are having a mix of the national brands, the local stores. It's funny when you see the buzz. Some people say, we want all nationals. And some people say, don't bring any nationals. We want all local. Everyone has an opinion, but I think you need both to make it thrive.
You need to have the nationals to pull people off the freeway, the coffee shops, things like that. But then the local stores to keep the local community coming back and a reason for people outside of town to have a special reason to come up here and not stay in Vancouver or Chehalis.
Absolutely. You know that we're the intersection. Everybody who drives from Astoria and Seaside, a lot of people could Seaside come through Longview, and if there isn't anything available for them here, they're going to drive north or south. And this particular shopping center, if you will, is about 60 miles from the next nearest regional shopping. We do have the Triangle Mall, which we're blessed to have in our community here, but it's an outdoor shopping center of sorts. And they've kind of elected there's a little bit more. They have Marshalls and Ross, and so we're trying to maybe trying to find some better tenancy. We really only have one large space. A lot of people think there's lots of vacant space at the Three Rivers, but there truly isn't. We've had one 30,000 square foot store, which we've been very conservative who we put in there. We're trying to get the right fit. I know you hear in the community people, we need pickleball, we need indoor pickleball, and
I do love pickleball.
And as well as myself, but you need somebody who's going to be the operator. So to anybody out there, if you want to open up a pickleball, it'd be a great place to do it. There's some national chains that we've been talking to.
National pickleball chains?
Yeah.
Oh, snap. I didn't think that was a thing.
There is. There's a number of them. They're expanding quite quickly, actually.
They're taking over the pickles.
Did you guys know? So we interviewed Jen Wills on this podcast, one of our very first episodes. Did you guys know that pickleball started in Washington? No. In Bainbridge Island?
Yes. Yes.
She was giving us all the pickleball facts.
Yeah, small little trivia thing. My wife's cousin was actually the West Coast pickleball champion. He has a pickleball court still in his backyard of his home in Vancouver. So wow. I knew about the fact that it was.
You're related to pickleball royalty.
Apparently so. I did not know that.
Are you?
By marriage.
By marriage.
By marriage. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Interesting.
Well, I think you bring up an interesting point because people say we need a shoe store, we need a toy store, we need more clothing. We need a pickleball court, whatever the case may be. And they look at you as the owners and say, hey, we need these things. But what people don't understand is you're building it, you're building out the infrastructure, but businesses need to come in. And if someone wants a shoe store, bring a shoe store. You know what I mean?
Right. If you're passionate, if you miss the cookie place and you're passionate about baking and you want to make cookies,
get your business license first and then come talk to us.
Get your business license and build a business portfolio. Come bring it in. They want a wonderful tenants, but they're not going to build your brand for you. So,
well, one of the things I kind of touched on earlier is the Three Rivers Crossing is really a collective, if you will, and you can get your business license, you said, and you can go hang your shingle someplace and start making cookies, but all the marketing is just up to you. Whereas when you come to Three Rivers Crossing, we actually have a marketing manager. And you two ladies here are a big part of that in regards to we actually market for people that are at the Three Rivers. So when you come there, you become part of a community that we want to help you be successful and support you. Ultimately, we want you to be able to pay rent on a regular basis.
Yes.
But our goal, though, is to help all businesses to thrive and do well, whether it be on a national playing field or whether it be on a localized level. But that's really our real motive.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned that you market for the stores, but also the stores really are a community in themselves. Oh my gosh, being in there, first of all, I'm obsessed with the mall manager, as you know, Julie. Love her. Used to work with her at the radio station. She's my favorite. And we go in and I talk to her and we're in the office and this tenant comes in and then this tenant comes in. It honestly needs to be a TV show. Like the stuff that happens down there, I'm like, I don't know if it needs to be scripted like Community or if it needs to be a reality TV show. Oh my gosh, it's hilarious everything that goes on in there.
It is. It's quite funny and almost like a silly dysfunctional family. Like it could be like a Modern Family episode.
Yeah, for sure.
It's good.
I like when the phone call starts with, "You're not going to believe this."
Yeah. Well, and a lot of people don't realize, but some of the doors are unlocked at 8 a.m. in the morning for, like we have Abilene PT clinic there.
Mm-hmm.
And,
they're amazing.
So they have people there early, but we also have the theater doors open until midnight because, the theater is going till midnight. So there's a lot of access to the facilities. We're looking for business that have different traffic drivers. We call them softwares, boutiques, men's, women's boutiques. To be quite honest, most of us men will go on Amazon and buy something, just because it shows up. But one thing we've all discovered is during COVID, of course, you could order 10 of them and you could send 9 back. You kept the one you liked and it was free shipping. But companies realized they're losing their rear end doing that. So they decided to start charging for shipping. So it's kind of even the playing field a little bit now for the shopping experience. And if you do want an experience, you actually get to feel things, which is great.
Yes, the pendulum has swung, I think, or starting to. I am a person, though, I just hate online shopping. I want to touch things. I want to try things on. And I don't want to return things in the mail.
If I have to get a giant list of something, I'll do it online. But if I need a moment to myself and just quiet time, shut down my brain, an experience, that's when I'm going to go to the mall. So I can get a bite to eat. I can do something fun. Maybe spend a little money on myself I normally wouldn't spend, get buy me something a little, something special. Mm-hmm. But that's I think what malls are turning to. They're turning to community spaces instead of where you go and do all of your shopping. So it's nice to hear that is what you guys are focusing on, making it an all-inclusive place for people to be entertained.
Yeah.
We have a lot of roof, and a lot of space. And, we know the roof specifically because we've been up there.
A few times, about 9.5 acres.
They already fixed that, so.
If you think about it, it seems to be that in the last 15 years, maybe 20 years, the popularity of indoor malls has faded and the popularity of outdoor malls has become more popular. But do you know what's really sparked that? The cost to develop.
Yes.
The developers are developing outdoor malls not because it's easier or it's simply a cost.
Cost effective.
And so they've convinced the public that they like shopping in outdoor malls because they're not building indoor malls because of all the space.
Right.
So when you do have an indoor mall that's still in good condition, like this one, it's just a benefit. We're able to have people go between stores without, having I wear glasses, so every time it's like I have to take them off, put them in my shirt.
Up.
Yeah, walking. Where if you're worried about your hair, which Bob usually worries about his hair.
Well, it gets in my eyes.
All
The
the
water
time.
does nothing to hold it back. So.
Yeah.
It just makes sense to walk from your car, go in, you can spend an hour shopping and not come out, soaking wet and running from store to store type thing.
Well, just the ability of having a climate controlled, atmosphere, essentially where, it's either it's hot or cold or rainy or whatever the environment is outside. But again, Eric has a very poignant a topic there is the fact that, developers have kind of convinced us that, well, we want to be outside. And I know that we're all shocked, but it does rain a little bit here in the Northwest.
Well, and we don't use umbrellas in Washington.
Yeah.
So
Right.
my thing is I just push myself up against the, the outside and I just scoot along so I can be covered. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, right underneath, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you ever see
The
Katie
awning.
scooting
Yeah.
along walls, she's fine. It's okay.
But I'd rather be inside. So just know that about me. I'd rather be inside. Well, we are really excited about everything that is happening, but let's switch gears a little bit and talk about how we got here. Because you aren't just the owners of the Three River Crossing, you're also very interesting guys. Can I just say that?
Okay. No.
You're like the Dos Equis man.
You're
Both of
also
you.
very interesting guys. No, seriously, you are entrepreneurs and you don't just wake up one day without having a serious business resume and buy a shopping center. You don't. So
There was a build up to this. You don't just wake up one day and buy a whole mall.
yeah. So
Unless you do. I mean, is that how this happened?
No, I don't think we could envision this 20
Maybe if you're a
years
Nepo
ago.
baby, you can do that. But unless you're a Nepo baby, you have to have some experience behind you.
True.
And seriously, Gabbi and I talk about all the time that from a business perspective, you guys are really inspirational to us. So how would we let you get off the podcast without asking some business advice from you guys, you know? So one question I have is, are there any pivotal moments or like experiences you had? Like what businesses have you owned or projects you've done that you feel like most prepared you for this latest challenge you've taken on? Good question, huh?
Yeah, wow,
Wow.
it's pretty in depth.
Can I say I'm speechless again?
You got out of it the first time, Eric.
Yeah.
This time, feet to the fire.
I think it was baby steps. It was initially, 20 years ago, our first, we were fix and flipping properties. And you start off doing something small and simple. And you can even go back further than that. And it's like watching the late night TV shows about how to get rich quick buying and selling real estate, right?
Carlton Sheets.
Yeah, Carlton
Now they're
Sheets.
podcasts, but they used to be TV shows.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so it really started out there, and then you just simply keep growing and trying to build something. And we had rentals, and this does go back a long time.
Now Eric's like, wow, it doesn't
I
look
know.
like that.
You start thinking about the late nights. It was never easy. People always think, it must have been, no. It was late nights.
Tears.
Working on them, yeah.
I'm a crier, so when I'm stressed, it's like I could be happy I'm doing a project, but I'm probably just silently crying as I do it. Any of that?
We've been, I think as far as things I've always stuck with is, there's the old adage, treat others how you want to be treated. It's very simple. You do what you say what you do. It's very, very simple. I mean, these are old sayings that unfortunately have kind of got lost in the business landscape. We've all hired somebody that said they're going to show up at 8 o'clock today, and guess what? 8 comes, 8:39, they're not there. And doggone it, I'm a believer. If you say you're going to be there at 8, be there at 8. It's so simple, but it truly is. And answer your phone. We've all done business with people that you call them, you can never get them to answer their phone, and maybe I'm old school because I like to talk to people on the phone. But
Are you picking on me right now?
no, not at all, Eric. But a text, or even to say, hey, I'll call you right back. Just it's all about expectations. That's really what it comes down to. But as far as how the company is built, Eric and I met in 1998, and we kind of started talking, and then I think it was like 2001 we bought our first acquisition. Was a fix and flip on a property, and just kind of took it from there. I'm not going to say it was always a direct upward trajectory. Sometimes it was kind of a settled for a little while and then to the next level. But where you get to purchase an asset like this is really just a matter of it. It does take time. That's the biggest thing I want to tell people because it's easy to look at the outside. I pulled up one day, a quick little story, but AutoZone in Vancouver, and I was driving my 73 Camaro, and this young guy comes in, he goes, oh my gosh, this car is so beautiful. You got to tell me, sir, how do you get there? And I was like, well, first I'm going to tell you something. You can never save yourself to prosperity. You truly can't. You have to invest, and I mean by investing in yourself, investing in real estate, investing in business. Eric and I both had success at varied levels in different businesses. I'm still involved in the restaurant group, but you can't save enough. It's all about the law of multiplicity. You have to have enough drivers of income to get yourself to that point. And that's honestly, and I'm not gonna lie, this was a professional and personal risk for both of us, but we're local guys, and we really felt like the community deserved for us to take this risk to bring back the Three Rivers.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. As someone who lives here, I appreciate that you guys are willing to take on this risk for our community because it's going to benefit all of us. And you didn't have to do this. You could have
retired, Bob.
You could have gone to Mexico and sailed off into the sunset. I'm pretty sure Cindy wants you to, but...
Well, and to be perfectly honest, generally I call it the shoulder seasons, the nice times of the year, we're usually down in Nevada, and my wife's down there during the week, and I fly up 3 days a week. As this project's involved, requires a lot of involvement to keep it moving forward.
Right.
Now we have good people, but it's a simple matter of getting decisions made, and one decision leads to another one, and that kind of thing. So it's a little bit of a sacrifice at this point in time, but I really think it's we stepped into this asset knowing it's probably take a year to 2 years of a hard pull to turn things around, which is really still a tall order for something that's maybe been languishing for 10 to 15 years. So we're very realistic about that.
It's okay if you take a little longer. What do they say? I mean, come on.
Great things come to those who wait.
Well, also, it's like it always takes about, what do they say, twice as long as you think and costs 3 times as
Like
much.
remodeling a home,
not
yeah,
bad.
yeah.
Well, gosh, and who can complain about 2 years? What in our county gets done in 2 years?
Well, we do have to give a shout out to our wives because they put up with our craziness, our
Absolutely.
ideas. I don't think that either one of them, when we told them this was what we wanted to do, either one was a fan, but they do support us.
I still don't think they are, but yeah, they support
Yeah, I don't
us.
think
You didn't try to spin it like, honey, I bought you a mall.
Yeah.
Your own mall.
Yeah.
Well, I think they were hoping it was in Scottsdale, not Kelso.
Well, speaking of which, the only reason that this project really works for us because we are hyper-local guys. Eric's a Kelso grad. I'm a Castle Rock grad. We're heavily involved in the community, not just on owning real estate, but just in business. And so it was just really important to us to make this this transformation. And again, we talked about the rebranding for Three Rivers Mall to Three Rivers Crossing, the shop dining experience, really moving towards that lifestyle or community center.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, and, you talk about you do what you say we're going to do, you do it, you show up, you follow through, and the right opportunities come to you. And Eric, you mentioned the mall wasn't even for sale. And somehow you guys got it, right?
Well, I think it's just hearing and listening, and that the opportunity was heard, and we had a broker in my office who is friends with the previous owners, and it just kind of sparked a thought. And so I called Bob up and I go, "Hey, you want to buy the mall?" And he that was right about when he announced retiring from the mortgage company. And
Prior to that.
yeah.
This was December of 2023. We started having conversations. People don't know how long it takes to do a transaction like this to make this happen. And honestly, to Eric's point, this was not for sale. It was really a conversation happening between a couple people and say, what are you going to do with this? And guy, I don't know, but if somebody to offer me this much money, maybe I would, be interested in selling it. And so this broker, which actually works for Eric, and contacted Eric, and he calls me up immediately. Goes, we should do this. I'm like, well.
He didn't hang up on me.
Yeah.
So, but that's usually how we work. It's usually like just a thought, and then it festers for a few days.
But that's actually, I think a lot of people get hung up in the details and think that they can't make the leap of faith because they need to know exactly how they're going to get there. When you guys...
Oh.
Nice catch.
You
Have
guys
to have
have told us,
confidence in yourself.
and that you figure it out as you go. You guys have told us that.
I heard a business advisor recently say that a lot of people will look at something and say, well, let me think about it for a week. Mm-hmm. And probably our hallmark in business is the fact that by the time somebody's thought about it for a week, we've already ran through the different scenarios and maybe through the failure, the positives, and already made the decision to move forward. I mean, I think we bought some of our best properties and looked in for 5 minutes, we're just going to do this thing, and having confidence in ourselves that we're just going to make it work.
Okay, speaking of, Eric, you have to tell us the story of your first commercial deal. We have to hear it. When you flew
To Florida.
So,
you guys, you have to hear this one. It's really good.
Story
Again, figure it out as you go and believe in yourself.
and not take no for an answer. That's probably been the biggest thing that's got us, to some of the properties.
Be tenacious.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So, we had we needed a new building for Remax specifically, and we were looking at some different options in Longview. And on the way from one building that Bob and I were looking at, for he would put the mortgage company, and then we put Remax on the other side. The current building that we're in on Washington Way had a for sale sign.
Recently put for
Yeah,
sale.
it was
been
like
for lease for a long time.
Yeah, and so we drove by, and holy cow! So we made a phone call, and we started negotiating with him, and there was immediately another offer from another local investor, and the guy was in Florida.
The
The
seller.
seller.
The seller, yeah.
Okay.
And arguably the competing investors far better position than we were.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't have a lot of extra dough, and
They were you guys, but back in the day.
and yeah,
Maybe. Yeah, people might think that. Yeah.
he just a good, smart local business person, and we knew we were at a disadvantage. And I was speaking with the owner in Florida, and he said to me, the first person down here with the earnest money gets
Non-refundable,
Non-refundable,
50,000.
Non-refundable.
So this is at 4
This is a
o'clock.
Thursday, right?
No, 4 o'clock on Friday. It was Friday.
Okay, but I think Thursday, Friday
Yeah.
that week. Yeah.
Yeah. So we immediately called my wife and said, "Hey, I have to go to Florida." She said, "Oh, okay," that supportive, thing I was talking about. But then we had to get 50,000 cash because they wouldn't wire the funds to Florida and have it there by Monday.
Available. To draw
Right.
on.
So the only way to do that, we found a local bank in Florida that also had a branch here. We went to Red Canoe, pulled out the cash, and then deposited that money into that local bank. So that
Which you made the vault teller very happy that day. She had to leave early because we took all the
counted,
cash
so.
yeah.
out of the vault.
They don't like that.
Well, on Friday payday, there's not a lot of banks really don't have a lot of cash. Like you think they do,
Right.
but they
Right.
really don't.
They don't.
Especially on payday. And then we flew down there, and we'll make this story much shorter than it actually is. So we flew down there. We pull up to I remember we thought we were big time. We rented a convertible Mustang, and we're bombing around Florida in the sunshine, top down. And we pull into the parking lot of this place, and they're all loaded with the nicest high-end Mercedes.
Maybachs.
And yeah, totally. You got the Rollie in the back there. And,
Bentleys, you name
yeah,
it.
you name it.
We're
And
in
we,
Boca Raton, Florida.
yeah,
so-
we pull in our Ford.
Yeah, we thought we were pretty balling, in our Ford convertible.
Big, tall building, glass building, and it doesn't have a public door. You have to ring a doorbell. And we ring the
No
doorbell.
signage on the outside.
Yeah, nothing.
It was a jewel box building, so you
Yeah.
just, very.
And we go up and we go, "Hello, we're here I'll never forget the guy's name. We're here to see Mr. Mackler." And they said, "Is he expecting you?" And we go,
Probably
"No."
not.
You should have lied, you guys.
But I have a bag full of cash, so you
Yeah,
don't open the
exactly.
door.
And they go, "And you are?" And we told them. And the next thing you know, they buzz the door open, and the double door opens up, and inside is a giant mahogany desk. I mean, you can't even envision.
Old
like-
school attorney office
Yeah.
kind of thing. There was like a little camera outside. We're looking at the camera. Was he expecting you? We're like, probably not. We sit there for, it seemed like forever, but it's probably like a minute or something. All of a sudden it goes, doors pop open. We're like, okay, we walk on in,
And, you
Something
know,
out of a movie.
Yeah, I'll shorten it up a little bit. But this guy, he's very Italian, shirt unbuttoned, the typical gold chain, And long story short, we were slightly less. Our offer was less, but he looked at us and said, the problem with young men? They don't look people in the eye and do business with them anymore. And shook our hand and basically said, "You have the deal."
He said, because you came and looked me in the eye, said you wanted this, I'm going to give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we did fly across the United States in the early morning on a Sunday and all that kind of thing to be there on Monday morning. But so we went down to the bank. Would have been quicker probably to get the money out with a ski mask. But anyways,
Yeah, it was brutal.
It was
Like, trying to
brutal.
explain.
across the U.S., so you just deposit on Friday in their bank, and can you really take it out? But we brought it back to them and
Yeah.
got the deal. And the tale of the story is kind of funny. We're months later. Eric's doing a bid for this other investor, and I think he knew that they knew, and all this kind of thing. They get up to leave, and he shakes Eric's hand, and he pulls him close. He goes, "By the way, nice job on the wash away property, but that won't happen again."
Oh, the person you beat out on the other offer.
He's a
That's
good guy.
classic.
He's a great,
I would
great
love
guy.
to, if he wasn't like a private person, I would love to say who it is because everyone
Yeah.
would know.
Once
Yeah.
we turn off the camera, he's
Yeah.
going to tell us.
He's,
But it was a great moment, though. It was
Yeah.
the teacher and the student kind of thing.
I
Absolutely.
love that. I absolutely love that. I am all about being tenacious. And yeah, if you're told no, you're talking to the wrong person. Mm-hmm. Go find someone else that can help you.
Yeah. And take risks. Take risks and
Invest in yourself.
sounds like that's really the moral of the business story.
Be decisive.
And, it's another podcast for another day, but it took, how many months did it take to get the mall deal together? From the time we really,
The very first conversation we had was the last week of December 2023. We did a letter of intent in the second week ish. We were in the Virgin Islands, so right around that time, and we actually closed November 8th. So for all you real estate people that say, oh my gosh, I had a 90-day close, it's brutal to get done, multiply that again times 10.
Right.
We were starting to take it personally because a lot of people liked us, like what we stood for, our portfolio, our asset base, but they didn't like our asset, basically the Three Rivers Mall. And I was starting to kind of take it personal. I was getting mad that, they didn't like our mall. And so,
Well, we were flying people in, again, from the East Coast, Florida.
Yep.
Yeah.
So these for investors?
Yeah, we're flying investors in to look, and it was just, it really is a whole nother, that could be a whole podcast.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The process.
How the deal happened.
We'll save
Tell us
that.
a little bit. Come on.
We're giving non-refundable deposits and like strong 5-figure numbers for people to fly out here to
Just
look
to
at
come
our
look
asset.
at Kelso.
Yeah, to come to Kelso, look at the community, and then to take them to the airport. And go, your mall's kind of gnarly.
Yeah.
Or they didn't like
Very
our community.
80s.
And that's what I want people to keep in mind when they're saying, we need this store, we need that store. Sometimes it really just has to do with our market at large. Has nothing to do with the Three Rivers Crossing, has nothing to do with us individuals. It really is just our market's not on their radar. It just doesn't fit their check boxes of what they're looking for.
And you guys are listening to what people want. So you guys have brokers that are going out and contacting these national brands. So
there's not one or two of us. There's a team of us. That
Right.
are literally, it's all hands on deck. We have brokers. Eric's a broker. I'm a developer, so I'm calling people like literally. I'm like, hey, this is a pickleball national chain. They're expanding it. I'm calling, talking to people on the phone. So just so you know, we're all working hard. But at the very same time, if there's anybody out there that has great ideas, we're all ears and listening.
Yeah.
We're open for business. A lot of new tenants you're bringing in, we help them with build outs, and because we want it to start out properly to be a professional presence in the mall. So.
Well, you guys are doing a great job, like you said, hunting down those national brands, but also helping it get those local places built out and ready for business. And you guys have really just been a great force in our community to, not just with the Three Rivers Crossing, but with lots of different properties and enterprises. And so we're happy to have you here in Cowlitz County, happy to have you on the podcast. And everyone stay tuned because there is a lot happening at Three Rivers Crossing and you will be excited about it. Thank you guys so much for coming on.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. There's a lot there to unpack, I know. So.
Well, we'll have you back again, and you guys can tell us like the good, the bad, and the ugly of bringing the mall back to life. I'm sure there's going to be lots of fun stories.
Yeah. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Who knows? Maybe the next thing will be a reality TV show. Maybe. Thank you so much for watching Connections in Cowlitz, which is sponsored by Serpro of Longview Kelso and JoJo and Coco Boutique. We will be back with you next time.